Hello, this is John Long with Clean Bread and Cheese Creek. Today is Saturday, March the 9th, and I am showing the conditions of Bread and Cheese Creek before our spring cleanup, which is going to be with Project Clean Stream and American Rivers, and that will be occurring on Saturday, April the 6th from 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. Right now I am alongside of North Point Road, which is where Bread and Cheese Creek crosses underneath. And you can see the deplorable condition along the sides of the road, which we will also be cleaning up because any of this trash that's not removed is going to fall into Bread and Cheese Creek. Then it's going to flow into Back River, and then after that into the Chesapeake Bay. This area is always a horrible problem, and let me show you the section across the street right next to the North Point Flea Market, because you'll be absolutely shocked and dismayed by the deplorable condition of this side. Both sides are bad, but this one is way worse. Once again, we will be tackling this side, cleaning up this street as well on April 6th. So anybody who does not wish to get in the water, but still wishes to assist, we'll be asking them to help clean up alongside of this road, as well as section of Merrick Boulevard and the banks. So just because you think you might want to volunteer and you might not want to get wet, we still have plenty of opportunities for volunteers to do all sorts of things to assist with the cleanup. We always say that, we need volunteers of all ages and abilities, and that is entirely true. So far, our youngest volunteer has been 4, and our oldest has been 96. So we need people to also help with registration. We need people to help with sign-outs of tools and other forms. And, wow, that's interesting. Looks like somebody's work paper. It's a binder. Daily logs. So, this is new. So, a few weeks ago, when I went through and took pictures, this was not here. So, we are at this section entering the stream now, right by North Point Road Bridge. And I'm going to try and do this as quickly as possible because we do have limited videotape. So I should say as far as for uploading onto YouTube and other formats. But you'll be able to see the conditions that we'll be working in. Now this time we will be cleaning once again from the Berkshire area to North Point Road. I'm starting at North Point Road and working toward Berkshire. You hear the lovely wildlife in the background. Beautiful. It's actually a hawk. I don't know if you're not going to be able to see him very well. Beautiful bird. Anyway, since we've started our cleanups, I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not, but the very first Bread and Cheese Creek cleanup that we did in 2009, we found hardly any living creatures in the stream. It was very disheartening, and until we eventually found a large cardboard box which was removed, and underneath of that was a huge bullfrog. That's why he became our mascot. You guys better well know him as Freddy Frog. Since we've continued these cleanups, we have seen lots of fish returning to the stream. The frog population has really exploded. We've seen a few salamanders and crayfish. When I come out here in the morning, I see raccoon prints. We've seen some foxes. So our cleanups are really having an effect not only on the wildlife, but also on the stream. And I'm sure if you follow these video series that I do before and after each cleanup, you'll notice that the before videos are always a little bit better than they were before. So since we have some snow on the ground, you're not going to be able to see all the trash. But you can see the pictures that I took earlier before the snow, which will give you an even better idea. Every cleanup, the before videos and pictures are a little bit better than the year before. Now, people have commented and said, yeah, but there's still trash in this stream. It's like, well, and people are throwing trash in the stream. It's like, some of the trash is being thrown in, but that is not the bulk of where the trash is coming from. And we try and explain this in our lectures and our interviews. A lot of the trash actually comes directly from the streets, the parking lots, the roadways, all bordering Bread and Cheese Creek. And that's because our stormwater management systems in Bread and Cheese Creek are archaic by modern standards, and they would actually be considered illegal. But they've been grandfathered since most of them were built in the 1970s or prior. See, in Bread and Cheese Creek, all the roads, parking lots, all the neighborhood streets, even 695, all the shopping centers are designed to drain directly into the creek without absolutely no buffer zone and no type of a filtration mechanism like stormwater management ponds. And that's where a lot of it, where most of it is coming from. Baltimore County has upgraded almost, I believe all of the surrounding areas to modern stormwater management procedures, I should say, or installations, but Dundalk's the end for some reason, which I think is deplorable. Right now, Parkville is currently being upgraded. Why Dundalk is at the end, I couldn't tell you. It seems like it's almost like the upgrades have been following socioeconomic guidelines. So the communities in Baltimore County that are the poorest are getting done last, which to me, that's no excuse, because no matter what income level our community is at, it has a right to clean water and to a clean community, just like any of the wealthier areas. So until we get the stormwater management fixed in Dundalk to a modern level, we will always have to continue to do these cleanups. And people say, well, does it get disheartening? Perhaps, yeah, a little, but guess what? We're doing a vital job here. I mean, any of the trash that we remove from the stream is trash that's not flowing into Back River, not flowing into the Chesapeake Bay, not flowing into the Atlantic Ocean. And the trash which flows into those areas, not only do they choke and kill marine animals, they destroy bay grass it's an important breeding ground for the fish and for crabs. They also get into our food system. So I'm sure that you've seen a lot of the videos with trash. It's amazing. They're finding more and more of the fish that we pull out of our streams and we eat are filled with trash. So we're actually eating our own trash. So that should give you a little bit of food for thought. But every piece of trash we remove makes a difference. Yep, we do it every year, but yes, it's important to do every year because it matters. Yeah, not only for the environment, not only for our community, but if you even want to look at it for ourselves and our own health as well. Plus, all the trash that we take off the banks around here, trash actually helps to kill all of the local vegetation growing on the banks, which stops erosion. And all of the property around here, not only for the property owner's sake, which own property, it's causing millions of dollars in damage every year and lost property, but it also causes tons of sediment to go into the Chesapeake Bay. Now, those of you who follow the requirements for the health of the Chesapeake Bay, we know that they have set three major goals for the, two major goals for the most important reductions for the health of the Chesapeake Bay. And those are the reduction of sediment and nutrients. Now, The sediment is coming from erosion, and you can see all along here the erosion on these banks. The nutrients are coming from things like people who are over-fertilizing their lawns, fertilizing the wrong time of year, not using environmentally safe fertilizer. So this is why these cleanups are important. And I have to truly, put my hand out and thank everybody who's helped, all the volunteers that we've had. I mean, we see new volunteers every year, but we also see returning volunteers every year, which is absolutely incredible. I mean, this is a community effort. It really is. It's, not one person or one group. It's everybody that's helping to make this happen. I mean, our motto for Between Bread and Cheese Creek is together we can make a difference, and we really are. If you look back to the pictures and the videos from our first cleanup in 2009 to now, you see the huge difference between them. And none of that would happen without our incredible volunteers. And we always need volunteers. We provide to our volunteers trash bags, as well as gloves. We have some waders, which can be signed out, and some tools. But if you have your own waders, old tennis shoes, old boots, we recommend wearing them. Wear old clothes when you come to our cleanups. We also provide our volunteers with snacks, water, as well as lunch, which at this point in time we haven't had anyone step forth to donate lunch yet. Well, that's interesting. That's new too. It's a bucket full of oyster shells dumped in the creek. Now those oyster shells could have been recycled, because they're always asking for them for reseeding the bay. They're not going to do any good in Bread and Cheese Creek. The salinity isn't high enough in Bread and Cheese Creek for an oyster population to actually survive. As we continue along, we are actually running parallel to Willow Road at this point in time. So those of you who are familiar with that know where I'm at. There's a lot of rocks in this area, so trying to not slip on the rocks. So we always ask that people, when at our cleanups, walk cautiously. As I said, I'm walking a little bit faster than I would if I was doing a cleanup, in order to keep this video from being too long, since I have a lot of ground to cover. But our volunteers are truly what makes Bread and Cheese Creek, Clean Bread and Cheese Creek, such a success. And those of you who have been with us or followed us know that we don't just do Bread and Cheese Creek, which is our namesake, but we also help clean up other areas throughout the Dundalk community, which include Bear Creek, which include Stansbury Park, the Peninsula Expressway, as well as North Point, Battlefield Park, Battle Acre, the Methodist Meeting House Monument. All of these are places that we help clean up because we think it's very important for our community and for the history of our community. So, those of you who don't know, bringing us to Bread and Cheese Creek has a lot of historical significance to it. During the War of 1812, the British, when they decided that they were going to try and take Baltimore, disembarked their troops at Bear Creek. Bear Creek is not far away from Bread and Cheese Creek. Let's remember that at this point in time, they had just put an assault on Washington, D.C. a few weeks earlier and been very successful and burned Washington, D.C. down. So Washington, D.C. was defended by professional, well-trained military troops, and Baltimore was defended mostly by militia. So they pretty much figured this was going to be an easy walk in the park for them. So they disembarked at Bear Creek, and their goal was to come around behind Fort McHenry. So Fort McHenry would have been surrounded, and it would have definitely fallen. It's a part of the history that you really don't hear, unfortunately, because everyone hears about how Fort McHenry made it through the battle, which is absolutely incredible. But they wouldn't have made it through the battle if it wasn't for the Battle of North Point, which is what I'm going to talk to you about now. During the Battle of North Point, the British came up, heading toward, as I said, they were trying to head toward and come around behind Fort McHenry. And at the Battle of North Point, which is one of the other places we clean at, which is at North Point State Park, which is part of the battlefield, they ran into the militia, the Maryland militia. And the Maryland militia was routed the first time, but they rallied and came back. Now, also, more interesting part of this battle was Essequias, of Essequias sharpshooters, decided, he wanted volunteers to find out where the British were at the night before the battle. Two boys volunteer, Wells and McComas, 18 and 19 years old. And they used Bread and Cheese Creek for cover. They ran along Bread and Cheese Creek until they came to Gorsuch Tavern and found General Ross coming out from just having had breakfast. Now, he was very easy to spot in his bright red coat with all his medals, and he was famous for riding a big white horse. So they knew it was him. So now the two boys had a choice. They do what they were told and report back to Essequias and let him know where the British were held up at, or they take a shot. Now, they knew at this point in time the British were the best marksmen in the entire known world. These are two boys. They would have been high school age. And they took out their rifles and decided, let's try it. They knew that it was a death sentence, because they knew that as soon as they fired their weapons, the smoke and the noise would give away their position, and they would have hundreds of trained rifles firing back at them immediately. So they took their shot. One of the boys hit, and it pierced General Ross's arm and into his chest. Of course, the British returned fire immediately. The boys were killed almost instantly. General Ross passed away within 24 hours of the wound, thanks to these boys. And his men were so discouraged that they broke off the attack, and the battle was won by the Americans. Fort McHenry was not surrounded. Now, after the battle was over, and these boys' bodies were found, both boys were in the act of reloading their rifles, not running away. That should tell you something about the spirit of the American people and of these volunteers. It's quite a testament to their bravery, and quite a testament to the American spirit in general. Now, this is a very deep section, so I'll have to slow down a little bit. This is probably the deepest section of the stream. Most of the stream is just a little bit more than ankle height, sometimes up to your knees. This one probably would come up to your waist, in the very center. So we just ask as you're walking, you can tell it when you're coming up on it, to walk cautiously so you don't, get swamped if you don't want to. Some people don't care. I mean, we have people who show up in t-shirt and jeans and say, I don't care if I get wet. Which brings us to another point. People ask about the pollution and toxins in Bread and Cheese Creek. Well, Bread and Cheese Creek's biggest problem is not toxins. It's trash. From having water quality sampling done for Baltimore County and the federal government, we know Bread and Cheese Creek has a very high sodium level, which is salt, which is due from all of the road salting, which I'm sure you're quite familiar with given this winter, and a high chromium level, which comes from where the stream is buried under Baltimore City. Chromium is toxic, but only if you drink it. It's not going to get absorbed through your skin, and the level it's at, you probably could even drink it a little bit. But if you drank it for several years, it would probably wind up giving you cancer. It's not instantly toxic, so it's safe. Me and my whole family have been working in this stream for years, and nothing's wrong whatsoever. And we would never allow our volunteers to do anything toxic. There are areas throughout the Dundalk area that do have toxic water. They're infected with E. coli bacteria or other places, and we would never, ever ask our volunteers to clean up any of those areas, because the personal safety of our volunteers is of paramount importance to our organization. So we're starting to come up next to the shopping center by Gold's Gym. Gold's Gym is one of our longest sponsor, probably our longest sponsor. And every year they usually donate water to us, which is great because we need to keep our volunteers hydrated. And if you think about it, for a business that generates no trash at all on its own, that's pretty awesome. And speaking of donations, if you know of anybody that can donate food, water, snacks, gloves, trash bags, any of those is greatly appreciated, because we're an all-volunteer organization, which means that for every 1 penny we get, it goes directly back into the stream cleanups. Nobody makes any money whatsoever from Bread and Cheese Creek, and 1 penny donated goes straight back into helping the environment. So anything that anyone can donate is greatly appreciated and helps us out a lot. This is why you'll see we do bake sales and Sweet Frog fundraisers. We don't make a whole lot from them, but we make enough to keep us going. And that and the generous support of others are what enables us to keep going. So as I'm going along, it might not be easy to see everything. I'm trying to give you snapshots of the trash here and there because of the snow and because of the water reflections, but just trying to give everyone a little bit of a hint to know what we're up against and the length that we're cleaning. It's a lot of stream that we're going to be cleaning on April 5th, but we did it last year very successfully. We did it again. We could do it again. And if we can do 1 Bread and Cheese Creek cleanup a year, instead of 2 like we were doing, because now we're doing almost the entire stream, then that allows us to do cleanups in other areas of Dundalk as well, which is what our goal has been all along. So we're getting ready to enter the outfall tubes right next to the shopping center, and we're going to go under Merritt Boulevard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut off the camera here, because I don't think you need to see us going through a tube for a long period of time. And we'll start on the other side, which is by the Berkshire area. So once again, this is John Long, Clean Bread and Cheese Creek, and today is March the 9th, 2014, and if you want to find out more information about us, please visit our website, www.breadandcheesecreek.org, or find us on Facebook. We'll continue on the other side of the tunnel. This is part 1, done.